All righty, everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome to Community Chats for Friday, July 31st. My name is Anthony Saracusa, and I'm joined by my distinguished colleague, Aaron Peiser-Oath. And as you know, we come to you regularly, twice a week, for Community Chats, which is an initiative to converse with folks in the Lafayette Oxford University community who are working hard to make a positive difference in our region. Our goal is to allow these community leaders to tell their own stories in their own words. Who are they? How did they come to be involved in this important work in our community? What is that important work, and what is their vision for the future? Would you like to be interviewed on the show? Please send us a direct message on Facebook or an email at engaged@olemiss.edu. I always like to remind folks this is a joint effort with our friends at Loft Lafayette Oxford Foundation for Tomorrow, and definitely be on the lookout for an invitation to their Night for Nonprofits, which will be done virtually this year. You don't want to miss hearing from all of our great nonprofit leaders in the LOU community. Without further ado, we're going to jump right into the interview today with our guest, Suzanne Helveston from More Than a Meal. Suzanne, welcome.
Well, thank you for having me today.
Absolutely. We're going to jump right into it and give you the majority of our time. So go ahead and get us started by telling us where did you grow up and how did you end up in the LOU community?
Well, I'm originally from Meridian, Mississippi, and my husband and I met at Ole Miss, and we moved to Meridian after we graduated. We got married, and we were in Meridian for about 12 years, and 6 years ago, my husband's job brought us to Oxford, and that was very exciting for us to both be back where we went to college. So I work for the university in development. I'm a fundraiser for 2 scholarship programs on campus, and I got involved with More Than a Meal about 4 years ago. So we've been here for about 6 years.
Fantastic. Thank you. Well, welcome back.
Thank you.
So how did you come to be involved with More Than a Meal?
Well, my cooking club signed up to be a meal provider, and More Than a Meal serves guests in the Lafayette County a hot meal every Tuesday during the Oxford School District school season. And so my cooking club signed up to bring the meal that night, and I just was in awe of what More Than a Meal was all about. We prepared the food, but we were there to serve it. We were able to sit down and engage with the guests. There were volunteers tutoring kids. Toiletry items were handed out. It was kind of like having a group of friends in your living room, or just, you know, having normal visiting and engagement with each other at the dinner table. And so the atmosphere just really wowed, was very attractive to me. And after going a few more times, I was asked if I was interested in serving on the board. And, you know, a lot of times you have to think about those things. And I responded immediately, yes. There was no, I didn't have to spend a lot of time discerning that. So I have served on the board for 4 years, and I'm starting this fall as president. So we've had a few weeks off, and we'll start back on August the 11th. When school starts, that first week of school. So we'll be back serving our community members.
Wow, that's great. What a cool story. And congrats on your new appointment as president of the board.
Thank you.
You kind of touched on some of this, Suzanne, but can you talk in a little bit more detail about what's the mission of More Than a Meal?
Well, the mission of More Than a Meal is to provide a meal for anyone in Lafayette County that wants to come and participate. And More Than a Meal started in churches, just in like parish halls or community halls of different churches or organizations. And then the city of Oxford has allowed us to use the Stone Center, which is a great central location, very comfortable, and it's constant. You know, it's the same. So it's very easy for us to get that information out to our guests. They know where to come. But it's more than just a meal, just as the name says. We want our guests to feel like they're at a friend's house, coming over for dinner. A lot of times our meal providers, and those consist of different organizations in the LOU community, churches, Ole organizations at Ole Miss. I mean, all kinds of people volunteer. We could not do this without our meal providers. And they'll serve the meal. We'll have a craft going on station for the kids. A lot of times we use the playground outside. We'll have volunteers out there to play with the kids. We'll have tutoring available for anyone who needs help with homework. We hand out toiletry items, shampoo, deodorant, paper towels, just the basics. We've gone from doing that every other week to every week. And well, a lot of times, like during November, we'll do a coat drive for the children that come and make sure they have winter coat and hats and gloves. We'll do school supplies in the fall, early when school starts up. So just providing those needs that sometimes for our community members are hard to access.
Wow, that's really exciting. And I'm excited to learn more about it. So you already talked a little bit about organizations, even your cooking club, churches, other people that participate. So what does that look like? What is the team, and who are the different people that come together to make this happen?
We have several organizations that have been part of More Than a Meal for a long time. First Presbyterian Church, St. John's, the Evangelist Catholic Church, Baptist Hospital, AOPI sorority. We have a lot of different fraternity and sorority organizations that'll help on campus. But those are very consistent in signing up multiple times a year. So we sent out a sign up genius at the beginning, or in July, and let people sign up. And before, I'll talk about pre-corona and corona style More Than a Meal. Before the pandemic hit, we had about 10 volunteers from that organization that would come and help prepare the meal, chicken spaghetti, salad, bread, dessert. Everybody's, First Pres always does baked potatoes when one of the times they sign up. They do that beautifully. St. John's will do meatloaf. So the guests have come to look forward to the kind of like, favorite dinner night in your family. So they bring and they're able to, they serve the meal. And then we have other volunteers that sign up. We have a lot of students at Ole Miss come to get their community service hours, or different youth groups in the Oxford and Lafayette school districts that come. And I love bringing my children. They come on the nights that I'm there to volunteer. They're there with me, and they see some of their peers there that are there as guests, not there as volunteers. So it's a very heartwarming, you just leave feeling just with a happy heart that something so positive, it's truly bringing community members together to enjoy fellowship and being with each other. So we have a lot of room for volunteers. A lot of times we have more volunteers than we have space for, but fortunately we have this every week that school's in session. So there's a lot of opportunity for volunteers. Now, when Corona happened in March, we kind of had to regroup and figure out how we were going to do this. The need is 100% still there. So we set up a drive-through scenario. Our meal providers who had signed up were awesome. We contacted them and we're like, look, we're having to, regroup, as everybody is. We bring these in to-go boxes already packaged. So we have 2 awesome security guards that help us, and they help set up this awesome drive-through situation at the Stone Center. So the guests can come, they pop their trunk, so we social distance, able to get them the meals in their car need. We've had awesome groups like Wellsgate neighborhood did these wonderful toiletry bags that were filled with just all kinds of goodies, homemade face masks. I mean, they were so cute, and some of them were beautiful. So we were able to offer our guests a lot of extras. We usually stop when school stops in May, but we just kind of assessed the situation and felt like the need was still there. We were seeing our regulars. We have a lot of the same families that come every week, but this has brought new people, and we wanted to continue to serve the community during this time. So we sent out another sign up genius just to kind of test the water. And of course the Lou community stepped up, And we served all the way through the end of this month. We're taking a couple weeks off to just regroup, and then we'll start back on August 11th. So we've never served in the summer before, and every week we were giving all of our food away.
Wow. What an amazing story of adaptation as well. I mean, so many of our nonprofit partners are facing that same challenge as you say. How do we adapt, continue to serve the needs? And in many ways, the needs have grown during this time. And so it's really neat to hear how y'all have adapted and been able to serve the community throughout this. So thank you for sharing that. That's really uplifting. I think a lot of people appreciate hearing that right now. Suzanne, what are some of the greatest challenges that you've experienced doing this work? And you can speak to that, you know, in the pre-COVID era and the current COVID era, however you'd like to.
I think just awareness of more than a meal. Like I said, we have a lot of regulars, but there's room for more. And I think one of our greatest challenges that we're trying to overcome is just getting the word out to people. Social media has been helpful. We'll send flyers home in backpacks at all the schools, or in like the Love Packs, which is another great organization. We'll send, you know, a little flyer home in the Love Pack sacks that about more than a meal. So I would say awareness of our program. Sometimes transportation has been an issue, and we've had different churches or volunteers kind of help when we've had guests that could not get there. And a lot of times we'll know who those people are, and we're able to help them. But those are two issues we've tried to overcome and continue to find solutions for, so we can serve more people.
Absolutely.
Well, as someone that started as a volunteer and now president of the board, what keeps you going in this work? What motivates you to keep going?
You know, it's I've every week is just, you know, different, and but you leave with just such a wonderful feeling of being able to help someone, and we don't know, some of our guests, we don't know their backstory, some we do, but you can do a lot of things when you have those basic necessities, and food is one of them. So we do not want that to be a stumbling block for anyone. Kids can learn better, adults can go to their jobs better without having to worry about how they're going to feed their family that night. So that is a wonderful feeling to know that you've been able to help with that.
Well, Suzanne, you mentioned you all have a lot of volunteers, sometimes too many, and you're able to kind of find a way for everybody to help. But, you know, for our campus community and for the broader LOU community who might be listening to this, how can they get involved?
Well, I'll give you guys my contact information, so please feel free to pass that on. More Than a Meal has a Facebook page, so please message us, and we have a website where you can sign up to volunteer. Our volunteer spots are kind of limited because of social distancing with the coronavirus, but we've got our, I think we posted it to our Facebook page, our sign up for meal providers. And if you want to volunteer or provide a meal, just you can go to our website and sign up to do either or. We're always in need of toiletry items. Right now we're at, you know, every car gets a bag of toilet paper and paper towels and other, you know, if they need diapers, they know to ask, and we usually have diapers. But any neighborhood or any organization or group on campus that wants to do a toiletry drive, would be extremely helpful.
Fantastic. That's great. I mean, as we welcome students back, we've been having that conversation with a lot of groups about supply drives. So for folks who are hearing this, stay connected to our Facebook page and also to More Than a Meal, and there'll be opportunities to contribute as we welcome students back in the fall.
Awesome. Thank you.
So now we're to our 1 minute moment. So this is your 1 minute to share any message that you would like to with the LOU community, with our listeners. What do you most want them to know?
More Than a Meal was started about 11 years ago. We have an awesome board. Christy Bridgers helped found this. She's still on our board. We just have a really great team We also have a great team of volunteers and our meal providers. And like I said before, we could not serve the community without our meal providers. So I have a heart full of gratitude for all of our partners that help make this happen. And if you're interested in helping, please, go to our Facebook page or website, and we would love to find a way to plug you in, because we can use all the help and resources that we can get. And I feel, I always feel good about More Than a Meal, but I feel even better about it and how we've been able to continue to serve our students during the pandemic. We're going to continue our drive-through service as long as we, need to. So please, if you know someone who could benefit from More Than a Meal, please share that with them. It's easy. It's a drive-through. We're just friends sharing a meal with someone. And we'd love to have whoever would like to come.
Wow, that's awesome, Suzanne. What an inspiring story of resilience in this moment where we're facing so many challenges. And for those of us in the community who are facing food scarcity, what an incredible resource. On Tuesdays, join More Than a Meal. If you're looking for a meal, or if you'd like to contribute to support other folks in the LOU community, they're especially needing toiletries right now. That's something they're always in need of. And we'll be sure to link contact information for Suzanne and More Than a Meal in the comments of this video. So please like this video, share it with your friends, and let them know about More Than a Meal and the great work that Suzanne and her team are doing. And Suzanne, we can't thank you enough, not only for being on Community Chats today, but for this important work in our community.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for helping us get the word out on both ends for our guests and our volunteers and meal providers.
Absolutely. And as a reminder, y'all, we have a YouTube channel, so you can check this video out there along with all of our community chats. We're also on Spotify and Apple Music, so you can connect with us there for our podcast. And in the meantime, you've got something really fun to look forward to, which is the fact that Jody Holland will be on Community Chats next week. So you don't want to miss that. Jody has got a lot of cool things to share in his capacity as director of Loft. So be sure to tune in next week for Community Chats. And in the meantime, stay engaged, stay safe, and we'll see you next week.